thank you for staying with us. You're watching Daybreak on Trust TV, and the show continues now. We have in the studio former Senator representing Taraba Central, talking about Senator Yusuf Abubakar. Yusuf, thank you so much for joining in the discussion.
Thank you very much for having me once again.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, let's let Barrister to conclude on his thoughts earlier on, but while we continue.
Well, like I said earlier on, the Constitution of Nigeria makes provision for equity fairness in terms of appointment, employment and appointments and all of that through the federal character spirit. So we hope that the President is going to take that into consideration in appointing who his ministers are going to be.
Okay,
but beyond...
There's also another issue that is likely to come up now, and it has been a long debate, talking about the FCT and the minister of the FCT. Where should he come from? There have been court injunctions in that regard, up to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court gave a ruling that the ministerial appointment for the FCT should be the minister of FCT should be an indigene of the FCT. That is also something that a lot of people, indigenes of the FCT, will be expecting the new president to look into. What's your take?
Well, my take on the matter is that when you talk about indigene, who is, first and foremost, who is an indigene of FCT? By the Constitution of Nigeria, everybody born residing in the FCT is an indigene. Now, Senator Ereti, she contested the election. She has every right. She's a Nigerian.
Yes,
she's an indigene.
But the
so
argument,
if you are talking about
the argument here is that, and this also surfaced during the 2023 general elections with the results coming out from the FCT and all that, saying that the FCT, according to the Constitution, should be treated as if it is a state. And so if the Constitution provides that the appointment of ministers should be, you should have all the 36 states having an indigene of the various states as a minister, then, I mean, there are indigenes in the FCT as well.
Now, the thing is this. If we want to look at indigene, because the definition of indigene, it all depends. Everybody defines it.
Well, as it is known in Nigeria, as it's known in Nigeria today, and as is accepted in Nigeria today, is if you are from a particular state.
If you are from a particular state. Now, the thing is this. I still refuse to go with that line of thought, because we are a federation. Everybody born in a particular place, grows there, maybe gets employment or is doing business and is paying their taxes, is already an indigene of a place. You cannot ask somebody who have lived in a place for 25 years. Now, when it comes to other things, do not forget that the person contributes. So when it comes to maybe sharing the largesse, now you are telling him he's not an indigene.
Anyway,
so
that's been a Supreme Court judgment on this.
I do not buy into that.
So that's like saying disagreeing with that Supreme Court judgment. But let me let Senator also chip in on this before he also comment on the leadership of the principal officers of the National Assembly. Senator.
Well, thank you very much. He started very well. If you ask me who is an indigene of Taraba State, who is an indigene of Lagos State, who is an indigene of Kano, who is an indigene of all this, it's just like who is an indigene of FCT. Everybody that lives in FCT is an indigene of FCT. So all these things, they bring about...
Senator, is everybody living in Taraba an indigene of Taraba? Is everybody living in Taraba allowed to contest the governorship of Taraba State?
If you spend 10 years in Taraba, you are allowed to contest.
Is that in practice?
I mean, how practical? This is in principle. But I mean, we had a narrative. We had a narrative in Lagos in the 2023 general elections where we had APC stalwarts, people highly placed in public offices, saying, attacking other, tribes in Lagos, saying that those who are saying that Lagos is a no man's land should think again. They should be shown the way out. Things of that nature. We've heard all those kind of narratives. So we have it in principle on paper, yes, that all Nigerians are Nigerians wherever they live and all that. But then in practice, really.
This is what I'm saying. In practice, people make practice too difficult. because of some kind of selfish interest here and there. For instance, when you ask me, Senator Binta Mashi, she contested in Kaduna. She went to Taraba and Adamawa and contested.
The situation of women is a bit different, Senator.
No.
You know.
This is an appointment, sir.
Okay,
not,
I can
not,
give you.
Not election,
Okay.
appointment.
Okay, Solomon Olamilekon. He's a man. He contested in Lagos. He's now contested in Ogun. So this about this.
Yeah, but this time around we're talking about appointment of ministers, sir, where there is an express provision in the Constitution as regards that.
Let's come to appointments. You know, it is the status of FCT that the Constitution has made it too complicated for people to understand. It depends on how you see, what you do, how you want it done. You know, for me, you know, FCT cannot be, you know, of a status of a state. Because if it is, why don't we have a governor?
But the Constitution said as if it is a state.
As if it is, but it is not.
So then what's the interpretation of as if it is a state?
As if it is a state means that, you know, in certain instances, you can treat it as a state, but it is not a state.
How do you choose those instances?
You know? Now, such instances as in terms of, you know, voting rights of certain, you know, certain positions. For instance, if it is a state, why do we have only one senator? Why can't we have 3 senators? You know, why do we have, you know, the members' House of Representatives?
Well, Senator, there was a court judgment in respect to this debate. The court, the judiciary, by the Constitution, has a mandate to interpret the laws. And it interpreted it as so, saying that actually FCT should be treated as a state, and the FCT minister should be an indigene from the FCT.
No, in terms of administration, yes, but not in terms of status.
Okay. All right. Now let's come back.
That is why we have FCTA, Federal Capital Territory Administration. But in terms of administration, administer this territory as if it is a state, but it's only in terms of administration.
All right, let's come back to the role of the National Assembly in the ministerial appointments.
Yeah.
We have seen instances where ministerial nominees will come and then all we get to hear is bow and go, and they are not properly grilled and drilled on the assignment that is before them. Should that be the case, really?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Every appointee or every nominee should be drilled to the satisfaction of the Senate. In fact, in the United States of America, it is the committee that will sit down and drill and make a report for the plenary to approve. So, but here, this bow and go is when you are a member of House of Representatives, or you are a member, or you are a member of the Senate, and it's because of that they think that, you know, a privilege given to you, you know, because every member that is elected to House of Representatives, he must be equivalent to a minister. That is what the law says. So that is why they say, well, you are already a minister, why will they drill you? But this time, we have passed, you know, a law that, you know, the ministerial nominees must be done within 60 days. And their portfolio must be attached to each nominee. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a different thing. Now, if you are nominated as Minister of Health, so they are going to drill you as Minister of Health. If you are, so it is now, you know, we have a lot of improvement. I'm sure it is not going to be bow and go, except for those who are senators.
Even if they are senators, for instance, you're a senator, but you have not been Minister of Health before. So if you're going to be nominated for that position, you should be great on health issues so that Nigerians can have an idea of what you know.
I agree, but what we are saying, if they are attaching to portfolio, you already know the portfolio of this guy. So there's a what do you call it? There's history behind him. Being, you know, Minister of Health, he must have he must have had, you know, a lot of relationship with, you know, health issues, you know, or maybe he might even be a Commissioner of Health, or he might be one way or the other in health. I'm not saying that 100% just come, talk, bow and go. No, look at the CV. If the CV has the pedigree, you know, of being minister, I mean, he should have limited, because there's a lot of these issues that we should have confidence and trust in our people. For instance, somebody that is now Minister of Defense, if they bring somebody who had no inclination of defense at all, of course, you should find out why. This man has no inclination of defense. Will he do well? But if he has been in defense all through, you know, there's a probability that this guy, you know, will do well.
Mm-hmm. There's also, you know, some concerns raised about some nominees that are likely going to have baggages in terms of litigation, court cases on their head, you know, for embezzlement and, you know, other forms of corruption and the rest of them. How should we approach this?
Well, thank you very much. This is also another, you know, sensitive issue. Our Constitution said, you know, you are not guilty until it's proven otherwise. So once there's an allegation for you, it is just an allegation, and you can be treated as an innocent person. You know, in the French, you are assumed guilty until proven otherwise. Here, you are assumed innocent until proven otherwise. So it is the constitutional issue. So you cannot say, well, the Constitution says I'm not guilty, so why will you treat me as a guilty person? But it is a baggage that certainly is going to affect, you know, the administration. If I'm the president of this country, whoever has a baggage, I will say, well, let me see how this baggage will go. Let me go for people who do not have baggages, so that, you know, there won't be any disruption in, you know, in administration.
Okay, now we are also hearing some names likely to come up, and there's a concern about synergy, whether or not they will be able to work together. And these are political foes, if you like, in some instances. Should we be having such kind of combination? I mean, how do we expect to have that kind of synergy from among the...
Well, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you know, appoints you at his own after consultations with this, with that. So he is the guy in charge. So if you say that, you know, we are not in, I mean, we do not synergize because probably we have our own baggages or we have our own misunderstanding. It is the president. Once the president believes that, you know, this is his team, the team must work in synergy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Senator Yusuf Abubakar Yusuf, former senator representing Taraba Central District, and also Barrister Sunday Ugira, even though I hope I'm correct.
No, my name is Fanuel Lawrence.
Oh, beg your pardon. Yeah. All right, well, we do apologize for that mix-up. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak.
Thank you, too.
And we'll look forward to having you again.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's our show for today. In case you've missed, you can always catch up across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Find time to tune in, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Stella Iyaji, and do have a very pleasant day.